on my way to work. The dirtiest 4-letter word. I guess this time of year I get to be what I most admire and be one of them doofuses that goes to work when the sun ain't even come up yet. Golly. There I go. I just caught myself doing it, Shafe. I see what happened. Is that usually when I golly? Is in the beginning? I don't know anybody else that uses that word. I know a guy that he looks like an aw shucks looking kind of person, like the type of person who would say aw shucks, but... So this bank failure thing has come across my feed, and I checked over on the Lambdog76 channel. I hop over there from time to time to check comment messages, and Josh Galt, our old friend from the Great Recession days, has been putting up regular live streams, it seems, Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, which kind of tells me he doesn't have like a normal 8-to-5 job. Bless his heart. He's got a few videos up on banking, and I haven't watched them, but like I've said many times before, I like to look at the thumbnail picture and the title of the video and then just make up and think whatever the fuck I want to think anyway. So, bank failure. This Silicon Valley bank. When I was a wee lad, this goes back to everything I know about banking. I'm not a banker. I'm not a banker like Shafe is. And hopefully Shafe can talk about this a little bit, not to make you talk shop, but if I can answer automotive questions, you, my friend, can answer banker questions. I think back to, there was this Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, Demi Moore movie that had the Digital Underground did the soundtrack. I think the movie was called Nothing But Trouble, and it was about this banker kind of guy. He might have been like a hedge broker or some sort of a stockbroker type person, and he breaks down in the middle of who the heck knows, let's just say it's West by God, Virginia, and this man lives on top of a coal mine, and somehow in the mining of the coal mine that the banker convinced him to do, the coal mine caught fire and the whole place is burning. But the punchline of the movie is the guy being like all against bankers, like bankers. And then that makes me think of my friends on here, Econ Recon and the Great White Stoke, and bank failure. In my imagination, when I imagine what you think of banks failing, or even more important, the government intervention in preventing the banks from failing. Motherfucker. You know, if you're going to turn, put on your turn signal. That's all I'm saying. Normally that doesn't get to me, but apparently the subject of this video, along with some asshole not having his turn signal on, me waiting for them to turn, it just makes maybe their turn signal's broken and they need old Captain Edward to fix their car. But my concern would be, back to the subject at hand, my concern would be if you just write it off, oh, it's the Jews. I think that is irresponsible to just assign the issue to a people, in that it takes us off the hook. It pulls away our responsibility towards that situation. What does a scapegoat really help? It fuels momentary anger, or it quells momentary anger perhaps, or it gives a focus that people can work against. I can see that. However, for the executive branch of the government, as what came across my feed, if this is accurate, Biden says due to the quick action of my administration, you now don't have to worry about your deposits to the Silicon Valley Bank because we're going to guarantee every dollar that's in there. And there's some accounts in there that are upwards of 10 million some odd dollars. The Federal Deposit and Insurance, whatever the hell the C stands for, only guarantees $250,000 of a deposit. And again, 20 years later, we haven't learned anything from the situation of too big to fail, because the executive branch has unilaterally determined, well, if we allow this to happen, if we allow these assets to be reallocated, which is what happens during a failure, assets are reallocated to where they most need to be. If you continue to prop up the house of cards, my concern is twofold. One, is the house of cards once again even more delicate as you move the little bottom cards to where they're no longer getting ready to make the whole Jenga thing collapse? Jenga being that game that came out many, many years ago where you pull the little wooden bricks and you stack them on top, but you got to pull them out and you stack them on top, and eventually the person that pulls the last brick that causes the tower to fail loses. Or wins? No, loses. Has to be loses. So that's a game like nobody actually wins. You only end up with a for sure loser. One concern is that you're not repairing a house of cards, and therefore you cannot time when the situation may topple. The other concern I have is the resources that are being pulled to guarantee those deposits, that is tax dollars. How far can that resource be pushed before it has the same issue? Now, that resource is different. Okay, we're talking high finance macro as a source versus micro household, and bank deposits sort of bridge that gap between the two. But I challenge and I propose to you, in a situation where we're already experiencing high levels of inflation, there's not going to be a free lunch on this. It's going to further contribute to the inflation. So that'll be, I think in the case of SVB, I wish I had the number in, but it's in the billions that we're looking to insure. The idea is they don't want bank runs on every single bank. Again, I'm no banker, but what is a bank's purpose? Twofold, right? To be a secure storage of value, and then to also be a resource for high time preference finance. High time preference finance means you don't want to save for 20 years. You want the car right now. You don't want to save until you're 40. You want to go get the education right now. So your time preference, you want it now. You don't have the money now. These people offer that value. And we have an economy built upon high time preference. As a result, it pulls away from the secure store of value, because the value is mere perception now. What the bank offers you is a illusion of value, because there's value being stored there. I propose, when it takes your wealthy uncle to go in there and say it's only because of us that this has been cured, otherwise it would have been to hell in a handbasket, you're taking away that illusion. You're taking away from that perception. Why? Why you do this to my people? Let me know what y'all think.